have come from a cold climate myself, and so I don't know how they're handling that exactly, but I'm sure that there's many ways it could be done.
Mm-hmm. You're sure that they are handling that?
I imagine they are.
Okay. Now do you like floral teas?
What kind of flowers are they?
Jasmine?
Go ahead and let's just add something here and spice it up a little
Taste
bit.
it and see what you think.
It's all right.
It's best with a sugar cube in it. Do you take any sugar?
No, I stay off that stuff.
Do you do this?
I don't do the hard stuff.
Do you do this?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Well,
Thank you.
all right. And do you like green teas? In here.
I prefer actually green tea over black tea.
Well, here's a green tea. Let me put it down this way. You can,
My system seems to do a lot better with green tea. I really don't drink tea on a regular basis, but
oh, you should.
well, I know it's supposed to have a lot of benefits, but the caffeine seems to have it seems to have effects on my body that are,
Really?
Yeah.
What's it do to you?
It reduces my immune system's ability to fight off just average things. Yeah.
Huh.
And it makes me feel real, like if I drink tea, I've had it quite a bit, or drank a cup of coffee, which is kind of heavy compared to the tea.
Coffee jangles my nerves.
Strong. I will, like the next day, I'll just feel all worn out.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's hard on my adrenal systems. But I'm not the average person. I have what's called hypoglycemia, so,
So
that
you-
may be a factor with why I react different to tea, because I react different to sweets and sugars. But once I cut that stuff out of my diet back in when I was 17, I pretty much decided to stay away from sugar. Occasionally I've had it in items, and I really feel the bad effects pretty rapidly.
Has there been any kind of projection on your part or anything as to when you may be able to have one of these little cars? Are there a few of them in the country?
Part of it's financial, but the other part is being able to contact them. I actually contacted the company. I sent them an email
Good place to
inquiring
start.
the one in France, and oddly, my computer went down shortly after that.
Makes you wonder.
I hauled another computer out that worked, and I got it all hooked up and everything, and was using it. And again, that one went down mysteriously.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
Right. That happens to me all the time.
But I have contacted the fellow that's in Australia and gotten a personal email back to him because I wanted to buy one of his engines, you know. But he basically said that he's just licensing the rights to produce it, and he's not really dealing with anybody unless they're going to be doing at least $1 million in business.
All right, and that's nothing.
You know, that's,
Yeah, he's probably also looking for someone who can.
I understand
Who'd be
his
a
point
bit
of
of a research and development partner on that. I'll tell you
but when you say he's not selling it,
right.
he's licensing rights to it.
Right. When I'm from my experience with the elliptic-line steam engine, you know, which was all research and development, we made a number of engines. Our jobs were basically they would build engines at the Gibbs machine shop, the big fancy machine shop there. They had all the fancy equipment. They would build the engines at Gibbs machine shop, and we would install them in various chassis and cars and things, and then we would tear them up. Or sometimes we'd just install them on some kind of a jig where we could exert back pressure on them and stuff like that for tests. You can get we could test what the power output was at what RPMs and all that kind of stuff. There's something nice about a steam engine is that's unlike an internal combustion engine. An internal combustion engine develops its maximum torque at maximum RPMs. The faster it spins, the more torque it develops. Well, that's why we have to have a transmission, because we have to rev our engines up to get any torque out of them, and then we have to gear that torque down
Mm-hmm.
to a lower speed in order to start the car off. If you tried to couple the engine directly to the ground
Mm-hmm.
in order to start it off, and you let the clutch out at those high RPMs, it would just kill the motor.
Yeah.
You know,
The
but
difference with the air car there is the Australian rotary engine is he actually can use them directly without a transmission right on the wheel itself. And you can vary by controlling the release of the air. You control the speed.
this is the rotary.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they have they're very high torque.
this is what I was going to tell you. A steam engine. The steam engine's natural torque curve is it produces maximum torque at minimum RPMs. So the torque curve is exactly the torque. The slower you're going, the more torque it gives you to give you acceleration. You know, so it's probably a similar deal with the.
Another advantage of the air over, say, steam or anything is, in a lot of energy transfers, sometimes and quite often, there is, with methods that we've been using for years, there is the loss of energy in the form of heat.
Right.
Whereas with compressing air and then decompressing it to run the vehicle, there's not much dissipation of heat at all.
There should be a lot of dissipation of heat in the compression
And there's
process.
not heat used, really to generate, putting it in there. See, you can actually,
There's no.
if you use solar cells, you're not using, you might be using heat in a way from like the just available heat out there from the sun.
Well, it's
But you're not
electromagnetic
generating,
radiation.
you're not like burning something to make heat, to expand a liquid, to create pressure. You're just using a source turned directly into electricity.
Did you catch that phrase "solar steam" go by?
Yeah. But still, that involves heat.
From the sun.
Yeah, you're creating heat from the
sun.
Yeah,
solar steam.
You're causing heat. You're taking
From the
using
sun.
the heat from the sun and concentrating it
Right.
to make
Steam.
water hot,
Right.
to expand it into steam,
Right.
and then harness that energy.
Right.
But if you're going with a solar cell straight to electricity, you're bypassing that step. So it should be more efficient.
Well, the problem is in the efficiency of a solar cell. Do you know what the efficiency of a solar cell is?
It's increasing every day.
It is increasing, but do
And,
you have any
personally-
idea? Do you think solar cells are 50% efficient?
Right off the bat, I don't know.
Well, how about this? Do you think solar cells are 25% efficient?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, tell me this: if solar cells were 6% efficient, do you think you'd want to use solar cells?
I don't know. When you're using this figure, efficient as compared to what?
Power in, power out.
Okay.
The power of the sun in,
Yeah, but you
and
have
the
to
power
mine,
and the
you don't have-
electricity power.
Yeah, but you don't have to mine the sun, whether you're going to generate heat for steam or whatever is there, just like air is available. It makes much more sense for us to use the available substances that we don't
Right.
have to burn them.
Right.
We don't need to distort them or chemically take them and turn
Well,
them into something else.
Well, just exactly what you're talking about.
air,
It makes a whole
water,
lot of sense, and
sunlight.
it's very useful, and it's in space,
Mm-hmm.
because in space they can make solar cells that are very thin, like aluminum foil, and they can go up in space and they can roll these things out. See, and they can support them in space with just the slightest a bit of sort of structure to hold them in position, and that's you. And they don't even have the Earth's atmosphere to stop the power of the sun. Go
Excuse
ahead.
me one moment. Hello, we're on URTV and the Mad Tea Party. How you doing? Hello? Apparently it's kicked into my voicemail.
You
Either
didn't
that or they don't want to say anything.
wait very long to answer it though.
No. I'm just going to turn it on.
So anyway, that's In space, that's real efficient, and they can roll out literally acres of this stuff in space,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have the atmosphere even stopping the power of the sun in on it, and they can get quite a bit of power out of solar cells. But I don't know how many acres of solar cells it would take to
Charge a car?
charge a car.
Not that much. I mean, take a look at your calculator, your solar calculator, or your solar this or that. I was just seeing on the internet last night a little charger this big for charging your cell phone. So really, it doesn't take like, thousands of acres for you to charge a car. It could just be something that's sitting on your roof of your home.
Well, wow, everybody needs to have that.
And they make actually solar cells now that can actually be, it looks like you can just peel it off and put it on anything. And is like, people have vinyl siding, aluminum
thin,
siding.
They're flexible.
So they there's been a lot of breakthroughs in the last few years, and I've recently heard about some new breakthroughs that are, I know someone has invested a lot of money in it. And I don't know all the details, but he says this is the most efficient solar cell yet to be developed. I've been looking into this a bit, and there have been breakthroughs where solar cells, a lot of solar cells initially were made so that they're only using like certain wavelengths of light, and they didn't work well when it was cloudy, etc. So they started making them so that they have like maybe 3 different layers that pick up different types of wavelengths of light, so they work well even when they're cloudy. And some of them, I read about one a few months back that will even work by starlight. It
Really?
will still generate power just from, when it's dark here. Just the moon and the starlight is enough to create some energy for them. So that's great. I mean, so that's what we need to be doing, is marching on there instead of marching on Iran or some other country.
I'd be
to
very
go get
interested.
oil.
I'd be very interested in hearing some specifics as to what size solar cell could generate how much power by starlight.
Yeah, I would be very interested.
Could you charge
in
your calculator from that?
I'm not a solar scientist, so I don't know the answer for you. But I would like to find out more specifically how many cells that I can go out and purchase right now off the shelf.
But you've read about it.
Would
right?
it take to run my air car? Could I have enough on my car itself to be a hybrid?
See, that's
where it's a solar,
that's what you need to know.
Yeah.
You need the answer
so I can
to that.
keep cruising.
Right. And if indeed you could have enough of, if you had the most efficient solar cells and every inch of your car's surface was covered with that material, and that could run your car at 20, 30 miles an hour.
Well, these cars run at normal speeds. Cars do.
Okay, at normal speed. If they could run
not like 110 where you can't go, you'd be breaking the law anyway.
But if you could run then normal speed,
You can.
then everybody should have that. We should jump into that immediately. We should just start. As a matter of fact, we should just stop tooling internal combustion engines right now. We should just stop making them.
I think we should be marching. People should be marching on Washington and saying, "This stuff exists. We want it now." Not like, we're working on it, developing new alternative technologies. We ought to put some money into that.
But I will need to know.
But
before I'm ready to march on Washington, I need a number. I do need to know numbers. I need to know how much power.
Okay.
How many square feet?
Okay. Well, I'll send you an email. I'll provide you with the phone numbers where you can talk to the engineers.
But I mean, you're seeing this. You're reading these articles. I guess that's how you're mostly reading it.
No, I'm seeing videos.
Videos on the internet.
Yes. That show exactly how these vehicles work. It's not hidden. There's no smoke and mirrors. I'm telling you, they're being produced in France by a company. You can go on an internet and see about how they farmed out certain stuff, like the people that make stuff for Airbus as far as their airlines, fuselages, parts that are made out of, kind of stuff that we'll call plastic or whatever, are making parts for these cars. The government of India has ordered, I think it's 8,000 of them in a pilot project, and then they're making, this French company's making taxi models.
What I'm
that are,
saying,
I think, 6 or 8 seater.
What I'm trying to say here is that it is absolute smoke and mirrors. All right, and you are a total fool for believing in it.
Oh, no.
No, you are an absolute idiot for believing in that, because if the numbers are wrong. Okay, now there's a total smoke and mirrors. I mean, you can compress enough air into a tank to run anything, a battleship, whatever you want to run it, as long as you think that air magically got in that tank. But it takes power to put that in that tank.
That's right.
Right. And if you think you got a solar cell that you can carry in your pocket that's going to pump enough electricity down the line to do that,
It takes more than that.
Yeah, it does. How much more than that? 100 million times more than that? Yeah. No? Are you sure? Yeah. Well, if you don't know the numbers, you don't know. What I'm saying is
what numbers we do know are based on, like, you plug it into your wall outlet.
Right. You want to burn coal.
How many watts it takes to charge your vehicle up to drive.
That power out of your wall outlet is burning coal. That's where that power comes from. That's coal.
Right. We're currently
fossil fuel.
But we're currently
fossil fuel.
But we're currently burning fossil fuels. But with this technology, using it instead of a combustion engine, we can burn a whole lot less of it, and we can do it right now.
You think you can burn less fossil fuels by burning coal to make electricity, to run an air pump, to pump up a tank, to run your car?
We're already burning coal. We're burning gasoline. We're burning
but we're not running.
Oil.
But we're not running our cars off of it. But we will be.
No, but if we do,
if we plug them into their wall.
What I'm telling you is that takes a lot less energy to do than it does to put it in. Take that same fossil fuel, whether it's coal, because there are liquid coals that you can run cars on.
Okay.
Fuels. There's a company in South Africa that's the best at making those.
Okay.
Just saw something actually on television, on the major networks about it. But whether it's that, whether it's fuel oil, whatever, if you take and burn it at the power plant and then charge your car at home, it's going to use a lot less energy than if you take that same fuel and transport it all the way somewhere by driving another vehicle that's burning fuel. And don't even consider the fact in that stuff of all that transport costs, but just take the stuff, and if you magically got it to your car without going through all that crap, that when you burn it in your car and drive down the road from New York to LA or whatever, you're going to get like about, I think, 8 to 10 times bang for your buck, or gallon or whatever, by using this air car.
All of these things have numbers involved, the efficiency figures.
Yeah.
Right. All of these things have efficiency figures, and the efficiency figures are all very important. I guess people would say the most important thing is the price. What's it gonna?
Well, that's what I've seen on the price that they're selling the car for in France is it's very comparable to like one of the cheapest models of combustion engine car that you could buy. So that's another great thing about this particular company is they're not like I've heard of like the Tesla car or this or that, and they're like it might be a good product or something, but it's super expensive, some electric car. Whereas this car, they're offering it at entry level price to people, and the guy that designed that, he came out of working in the combustion engine industry. He was an engine designer for like Formula One racing vehicles. So he's not some nincompoop.
I was seeing videos about the air car, the French air car.
Okay.
And I was getting really interested in it. And then they had one that showed the guys who invented it and one of their engines, and it says and they're also developing a new air compressor to compress the air, and that there and this was now this. I blame this on the reporter,
Yeah.
but this is how it was reported. Okay, he said that also that the new ones. And they sound like what you're talking about too, about the using a gasoline engine to drive the compressor to compress the gas
In the car?
to run the air car.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you realize that will be inefficient.
No.
No, you don't realize.
It's more efficient.
See, you don't realize that's inefficient. No. It is not more efficient.
Why
See,
wouldn't it not be?
Okay.
If the car gets, if you take that car as opposed to say like,
All right, because you're using an internal combustion engine.
Right.
All right. Do you know anything about the? Have you ever heard of the?
I know that when you drive
have you
it
heard
from
of the
New York to LA, you get a lot more-
laws of
you get better mileage.
thermodynamics?
Yes.
You have?
Oh yeah.
You know laws of thermodynamics. Okay, that means you don't get any more out than you put in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the internal combustion engine is not very efficient.
Internal combustion engine.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that's going to be
Right.
running the air pump.
Right.
Okay, so it's never going to get any more efficient than the internal combustion engine. It's like if the efficiency numbers are not like 100% plus. There's not a plus side.
Yeah.
They're always to the negative. Always to
yeah.
the negative.
But it's the transfer of that energy to the wheels. The way this is done is a whole lot more efficient than
a transmission.
yeah, and drive. See, you don't have to move all that metal.
It's
There's a
more
lot of weight
efficient.
that you're moving around.
It's more efficient than a transmission.
And it's also a lighter weight car too.
Because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that if transmission efficiencies are in the 20s,
Yeah.
21% efficiency.
The French car has a transmission.
Oh, it has a transmission.
Yeah. So in a lot of ways,
Sounds worse.
it's in some ways it's very similar to a regular car, whereas the Australian one doesn't even need to have a transmission. And it is a more efficient engine than the air piston engine.
Well, anyway, so I was listening. Let me say it real quick. I was listening to the thing. I was watching the videos and listening to the thing about the air car, and they said that they had developed not only the air engine, but they had invented a new
compressor,
and that the compressor would pump the air as you drove down the road to pump up the tank to drive the
it's
engine.
an in-car air compressor.
And that eventually the plans were that it would use the power from the air engine to run the compressor, right? To pump up the air. Does that sound like a good idea to you?
Well, I haven't heard of that one yet, but
Well, I did hear it. Does
if
that
it
sound
could be done, it would sound good.
Does that sound like a good idea to you?
That doesn't sound like something that would work to me, but I'm not sure you heard that right when you were
Well, no,
listening.
I heard it, and that's when I quit listening.
And it could be the reporter, like you're saying.
That's why I blamed it on the reporter, but
I've visited
but-
websites of.
but somewhere along the line,
looked at a lot of different videos. I don't
this
recall anything
reporter
like that.
got the idea that as the technology improved, that the power from the engine would be able to run the compressor that compressed the air to run the engine, and that the whole thing would, and he even said it, and then that the whole thing would just run for free and transport you down the road, which is a gross mistake.
Kind of a perpetual motion machine type thing.
Oh no, they call that P motion. That's P motion plus.
Yeah.
That's immensely plus.
Was this on YouTube?
I think it was on TV. It was on
Okay.
TV. It was.
Because I was wondering, because sometimes I
This
see
was
things
on
on
TV.
YouTube where you go onto a subject and somebody makes some comical thing about it, that's just totally off the wall. That's not really real stuff.
But I'd like to see
But,
some of the French cars around. I think that they seem
Okay.
pretty cool. They claim great efficiencies and stuff. I'd like to see them. I'm really interested in what's going on with the.
You do stay pretty cool because they take the air that comes out of the engine as it exits. It's cold.
Right.
So when you're in very hot weather, what they do is they recirculate the way it's
blow it
designed.
back in the cabin?
Yeah, they put it back in the cabin so you get the air conditioning right there. There's no waste product. There's just air. The only thing that's wasted is wherever you're burning a fossil fuel, if you're producing a solar cell. I mean, it takes energy to make those things.
It does.
It takes energy to create electricity. So you're burning, but you're burning a whole lot less, and we need to cut back on using fuel. And it's just a step to, I'm for constant revolution, evolution, revolution. People keep coming up with ideas, and there's a lot of them that have been out there, but they're just squashed and suppressed. But this guy happened to live in France, where he was able to have the freedom to do this.
Yeah. I like a lot about the French. The French have a real good feel for revolution, and they say in America, they say in America that the people fear the government, and they say in France the government fears the people.
They do. They have all these strikes all the time and everything. And
They
there's
strike good, don't
pluses
they?
and minuses to that. But if you're trying to catch a public transport system somewhere, you might be faced with a strike. But that's the way of life over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Here, I'll make this look fish-eyed again.
I've never been there myself.
There.
I think we have a great country, a lot of good people here, but we used to have more freedom of enterprise than we do at this time when it comes to certain segments of the I'm not coming up with the right term right now, but of the economy, whatever. And when we're talking about fuels and transport and stuff like that, there's quite a lot of control by a few, and they like to limit people who are actually wanting to do something different. Because they can say you can't drive that vehicle on the road because of this or that.
Oh, it doesn't have the right kind of tail lights. It gets
Wasn't made by us, basically.
it gets twice the gas mileage, but we don't like the tail lights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anything they could think of, but I don't think they're going to be able to totally stop this. So it's here, it's coming, and sooner the better. I don't understand why these folks that have the controlling interest in these oil companies don't. I mean, they have a lot of financial assets.
I should take all that money and invest it in somewhere that's going to be worth something in the future.
Don't they care about their kids,
No,
their
they don't.
grandkids?
No, obviously they don't.
Because they can still control the market.
No, the ones in control don't even live on this planet. As a matter of fact, we are, through the internal combustion engine, turning our atmosphere into their atmosphere. That's
Green
right.
tea in a green teapot? I love the color.
No, the green tea's right here. I put it here for you.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you were pointing at the alien head. No, it has prophylactics in it.
I gotta check the time. It's time for me to go.
Oh, yeah, it is. You better.
But I
run.
might be able to come back.
All right, well, do it. Hurry. I'll tell you the story of when Tom, who was the inventor of the elliptic line steam engine, had to go to testify before Senate hearings on the efficiency of steam. Okay.
I'll look forward to it.
Okay. All right, I'm without a guest again. I've run him off. Well, that just goes to show I do run guests off. But he had to pick up a camera too, so I won't completely be. Let's see if this. Let's see. Oh, there, that might be good. No, it still doesn't seem to. It's not bad though. I like the way it stands up there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Here. Oh. There we go. That looks good. Doesn't that look good? Doesn't that look good? All right. Well, what kind of tea will I have next? Let's see. How about... I haven't tasted this one. This works better than... this pot works pretty good. It does. All right. I like that one. This new little pot is winning big points fast. Yeah. That's looking good. Yeah. It pours well. Very nice little teapot. Okay. Well, that would be a really good study. I wish we could get somebody, another noted mad scientist in the area interested in it enough to do a little research and get us some efficiency figures and bring them in. Wouldn't that conversation have been awesome if we could have introduced the actual efficiency figures, for each step of the thing that we were talking about, and then we could compare those efficiency figures with the kinds of efficiency figures that we're dealing with now. Just because it's solar doesn't make it like the total answer. I mean, sure, we have lots of solar out there, and it's more or less for free. But if the efficiency figures are way low, it is just a dribble, and it's going to be a teensy little stream, kind of trying to come up against the river of energy that we're currently using. Now, maybe through efficiency. Oh, yeah, this is good. Wait a minute. I'll do that and that, and I'll do this. All right, now we're serious. Can you tell? All right. It all comes up to efficiency. All right. If we have a little trickle of solar energy, if it comes up against the flood of energy that we're currently using through fossil fuels, the more efficient we become in our usage of fuel, the more useful the solar energy is. Unfortunately, at this time, there's a wide difference between how much energy we are able to practically produce with solar, and the amount of energy that we're using in our everyday lives. And I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble, but I'm afraid that a few solar cells on your roof are not going to power your house and your car and everything else, particularly if you continue to live the lifestyle of the average American. I have friends who live in solar houses with the most efficient solar cells on the roofs that they were able to get, and they run little lamps that have little lights in them like a flashlight, and it's like okay, we have 2 hours of reading time a night where we can use a little lamp that'll shine right over on this little book that we're reading. They're not running toaster ovens here, okay? These people don't have an electric stove in their house. They have a gas stove. They don't heat their house with electricity. They have a wood stove to heat the house, which they have to constantly maintain. And they don't even, I think, have electric refrigerator. I think they have a gas-powered refrigerator. I'm sure of that. Pretty sure of that. Gas-powered refrigerator, natural gas, running that. So it's a matter of they cut way back on their energy consumption. Try to become more efficient with what they use. I'm all about some of these fluorescent bulbs. I'm glad they finally got fluorescent bulbs that would screw into fixtures, so that's really one of the best things that these new solar houses and stuff can operate on. And I'm not sure of the efficiency figures, but I believe that the light emitting diodes also come out pretty good, because I see that some of those light emitting diode type flashlights last a long time on a battery, so they're not drawing too bad. And And that's the kind of thing that these people are going to for their little lamp that shines on their book at night. And if they go over their 2 hours of reading time at night or whatever it is, then everything gets, starts getting really, really dim, and eventually it turns itself off, and it's like, the reading time is over whether you like it or not, or you stand, I guess, a chance of draining your batteries down low enough that you could actually do perhaps harm to storage batteries. And it takes a long time to charge them back up. And I tried it myself. I ran an obviously too small a solar cell but it would take us 2 or 3 days to store up enough power to listen to the radio for an hour. It was, so like about every third day we could listen to the radio for an hour or something. But that's what I'm trying to say. This is a trickle beside the flood of energy that we are currently accustomed to using. And that's why I want people to become interested in solar steam, because steam can produce high volumes of power. There's a lot of power in steam, and I think that capturing the energy of the sun into pure heat is fairly efficient, and heat, and there, I don't know the numbers on that. We need to find those numbers out too, don't we? The efficiency of steam, which was indeed the case of what Tom went to Washington to testify. Tom had, and this was in the 60s or 70s, Tom had invented a rotary steam engine, the ellipticline steam engine. And they were having hearings in Washington about alternative forms of transportation. And one of the things they were looking at was steam. And General Motors had been kind enough to present the case for steam, and had presented the efficiency numbers and everything for steam engines and all that showed quite clearly that steam engines were not an efficient enough route to go to be any competition for the internal combustion engine that they were already tooled up to manufacture. Well, Tom had been doing research on steam engines. The figures, the efficiency figures that General Motors was presenting to the congressional hearings had been gathered at the turn of the century, when we ran giant steam locomotives and stuff. They were pretty much the efficiency figures that had been gathered from the railroad industry, and they involved heating up enormous boilers to create the steam, and stuff like that. And there had been a lot of technological progress in steam since that time, and the efficiency figures today are different from the efficiency figures from the turn of from the 1800s to the 1900s. And one of the things is we use a monotube steam generator, and we don't heat gallons and gallons and gallons of water to boil Now with the monotube steam generator, you only basically heat up the amount of water that you need to generate the amount of steam that you need right now. However, the volume of water that you need to turn into steam is how much water you heat up. You heat up the tube and you spray the water into the tube. And by the time the water comes out the other end of the tube, it comes out in the form of steam. And there's not, more gallons and gallons of water sitting in there that has to be brought up to a boiling point of energy. So you've not invested a lot of energy into heating up a lot of water that you're not going to wind up using when all is said and done. Which then at the end of the day or at the end of the run, you have your choice as to whether you just have, by some means, keep that volume of water at that temperature, or if you then let it cool down, lose the energy, and have to reheat it. And also, if a monotube steam generator bursts, then you don't have the big steam explosion and a lot of people getting hurt and all. It's just like psh, it lets out the steam from right then, and there's not a lot in reserve. So anyway, Tom went to Washington and he testified concerning the efficiency of steam. And I know that the efficiency numbers for steam have improved since the turn of the century. Here, I hear someone in there. Please come in.
Good afternoon, brother.
Hi, I see you've brought some form of
Oh yeah, well I don't know if everybody's for this.
I don't know what's
We were speaking on this past week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well,
District elections, folks.
well now here's I've given it a little thought.
Yes, sir.
All right. And if I'm all right now okay. This is a green tea. This is PG Tips. This is a China Black, and up there is
Orange.
a flowery tea from I forget what.
Sassafras.
No. From come on, please come back in. I've given you a cup away, but it's right here.
You guys had me interested up there at the house. All that good talk about solar and cars, and it just so happens that I own stock in some solar stuff.
Good.
Photovoltaic.
Oh, really?
And Voltic, maybe.
I didn't know that you were like a big stockholder kind of guy. Let me turn my music.
Oh well, I don't have the biggest account in
I'm
Asheville,
sure.
but
Me either.
I got a decent enough.
Anyway, I was gonna say you brought a thing here. It says,
Anyway,
Go
those
ahead.
that are locked up, you were talking about that. Those little inventions. The boys, I'm telling you, these transmissions, you don't need them like the car you were talking about a while ago.
Yeah.
he's got
Just
something
don't
here.
need 'em. It's magnetic propulsion. Here, let's make this a little highway here.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna get it figured out on paper. I've even got, I really took it way beyond what you're seeing here. But don't ever let nobody tell you magnets can't do the job. You don't need the motor. You don't need the transmission. You may need a battery and a little backup
Right.
type of something to push it over a hill in case it's just like that.
Magnet's great.
And the
My dad used
faster
talk
you
about
get
this
to
when
it.
I was young and people thought he was
Well, it's because generally who's going to run behind the car to push it, right? So I figured this out. This magnet's part of the frame, okay? And you can make the cars a whole lot lighter now because the only thing you're going to be doing is pushing the wheels and people down the road. No more 2,000 pounds worth of extra metal you didn't need to begin with.
Yeah.
That's all that part of that big deal. But this magnet here,
Right.
if it's placed in proper right there, not part of the frame, okay? You've got it mounted on a movable deal to where it'll go forward. Now,
Right.
I've even actually worked it out to where I can build electromagnetic pulses in the door to offset against this one and propel it forward. I needed a way to make it go backwards without burning down the vehicle with a bunch of but magnets, so you can do it with these pulses.
And you just reverse the polarity. and
You can keep the battery charged up simply off a wheel or an axle, just like a bicycle, little line on a bicycle.
Yeah.
When it goes around, it charges stuff up. You just need a trickle charge in a capacitor to build up any power.
All right, well, let me tell you, I had a friend.
Yeah, right there.
I had a
It'll
friend
put it
who
up over a hill.
I had a friend who came up with an idea. He says what he was going to do is he was going to put little propellers, like little windmills, you know, little pinwheels,
Right.
on his car, all over the car, and let them run. Let each one run a little generator. See, and then let the electricity from all those little generators run down to charge up the battery, and then run the car off an electric motor. See, and the faster he would drive, the faster those would turn. They'd make more electricity, charge up the battery.
Well, as you know, you don't even need a heat source to make a fan blade spin. I
No.
mean, it's just a little bit of current rolling in the air. As long as it's spinning the direction you want it to create that charge, it'll create
Yeah.
the charge. And there's a whole lot that they haven't experimented on, like your hair.
Oh, my hair.
Okay, now we know
There's a
about
lot-
hair and balloons and all that, but you think about the power source that's there. Anything that can wiggle in the wind is a possible power source. Okay, just like a
I know,
carpet
but
of
how
fibers is a
efficient
power
would how
source.
efficient would it be to
Waves,
harness the
tides.
power of my hair? I mean, what massive power that would be? Could it be harnessed? But how hard would it be to harness that power of each
It's not
individual
so much
strand?
not so much the hair,
How do we
but
control it?
it's, not so, it's the
How do we
static
control the market
field
on
that
your
it
hair?
builds up. Is what we're talking about. And I mean, you know how they're doing with DNA strands and things nowadays.